Folks, it's Sarah here again from SH Millinery, and welcome to this tutorial in which we're going to make fabric strawberries which look fabulous on a hat. Now what we're going to need for this is some red fabric. Now you can use most fabrics as long as they're thin, don't use anything heavy. So I've got a piece of red jersey here and a little piece of red satin. I think this is actually a satin lining, or lightweight satin. But I'm going to show you with both of these. Now, to make the body of the strawberries, it's up to you entirely. I'm using a polystyrene ball, easily bought in craft shops, and one of those little fluffy pom-pom things that you often see. I must admit, this came in a craft pack. If you haven't got the pom-pom, you can use a bit of scrunched up cotton wool, or alternatively you can use a big bead and a small bead to make the strawberry. Now the only reason I opted for the polystyrene was if you're using beads, it can make the strawberries very heavy, and so that can weight the hat down a bit, you know, if you're putting a huge bunch of them on. But anyway, we'll look at both options. You'll also need a small piece of green felt for the calyx on the strawberries. You'll also need some thin green wire. This is just gardening wire. Needle and a thread, and I'm using strong thread here. And then a gold pen. Right, so what we're going to do first is we're going to cut some wire. Just use my fabric scissors there. That was bad, wasn't it? Oh, that's so naughty. And what we're going to do is I'm going to use the polystyrene first, and we're going to poke it in the polystyrene, but I'm also going to put a dab of glue so that it stays fixed in place. So maybe the glue's not set solid in this bottle. Let's try. Yeah. There's a bit of glue on the end of my wire. That glue's Fabri-Tac. So then you take the wire and push it into the ball, and it should stay nice and firm. Then what we're going to do, oh, I've just lost my little pom-pom. I'm just going to put a tiny dab of glue on the pom-pom and stick it on the end of the polystyrene. Okey-doke. Like that, just to keep it in place. Now if you're going to be using beads, I'll cut another piece of wire. I won't use my fabric scissors this time. What you can do is, this is a very big hole in this bead, which I'm not madly keen about, but you know, there we are. You can put glue through on both beads, but I'm looking at this bead and I'm thinking my wire's going to shake about all over the place, so I might swap beads around here in a second. Yeah, this is better. So again, oh, my beads are rolling away. Bit of glue through the biggest bead and through the smaller bead, and I'm going to leave those there to set. So we've got the bead one and the polystyrene one. What we need to do is cut some fabric that will go around our balls or beads like that, and so I'm going to say, oh, it's going to be about roughly there. So I'm going to cut a circle of fabric. Cut it bigger rather than smaller, because you can always cut off the excess. So I'm just going to, yeah, that should be okay. Let's see, it's probably a bit too big actually. Yeah, I might cut that down. I mean, I normally can tell by eye Although saying that, you've seen some of my videos where I haven't and I've got it all wrong, but there you are. There we are. Only has to be a rough cut. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do a running stitch around the fabric. Now this is quite thin jersey, t-shirty jersey. Sometimes if you're using very thin, you might have to put 2 layers so that you don't see the white through. But I think this will be okay, so I'm just hoping. Right, so I've put my running thread all the way around, and I'm going to put my polystyrene and my little pom-pommy thing in there. Pull the fabric up round. Because I've used jersey, it's stretchy, so I've got some leeway there. And then obviously you've got to try and get it even all the way around and pull up your stitching. I was using strong thread for this. I want to put a catch stitch in. Pull it really tight and wind the thread around a few times. You want to try and get it right in tight to the wire. On with the polystyrene balls, and you can fiddle about with that. Right, so we've got our strawberry, and what we need to do now is make our calyx, the little cap on the top. And for this we need a circle of felt. So I'm just going to cut a circle out. It's quite thick felt, this. I probably should have used acrylic felt, but there we are. And then we're going to cut the calyx leaves. I don't know how many they have. I've forgotten. It's a long time since I made one of these. Oh well. Right, now we need a hole in the end to poke it over the wire. Where's my big needle gone? Stretch out a bit of a hole. Poke it over the wire, like so. And then I'm going to glue it down so that it lays fairly flat on the strawberry. I'll cut that long end there. So now the good thing is, because it's polystyrene, you don't have to sit and hold it forever. You can just pin through it to keep the felt down. So that's what I'm going to do. Strawberry part done, and we'll come back to that in a moment. Now it's up to you how you put the seeds on your strawberry. You could embroider little seeds, you could put tiny little beads all the way around, but I'm going to cheat and use a gold pen. So now, if you're going to do this, test it on scrap fabric first to check that it doesn't, you know, run on the fabric and look an awful mess. Best thing to do is do a sort of circle round first, because they should be fairly even. I think I'm running out of gold. So there's our strawberry. Still a bit too much fabric there actually, but there we are. So there's our strawberry to hang on the side of a hat. Right, this is strawberry number 2, and this time I'm going to embroider the seeds on. Now if you're going to do this before you put the calyx on the top. So I've got my embroidery thread and I'm going to go down the strawberry to the bottom, like that, with a big needle. And then I'm going to go around like that. Don't pull it too tight, because this, obviously with this fabric, it's jersey and it will just pull the fabric up. So just gently. Right, when you want to finish your thread, do exactly the same as you did before. Go back through and then back out of the end of the strawberry again. Okay, like so. Okie doke. And you can see how it's coming along there. And then you can put your calyx. If you're going to use a non-stretch fabric like satin, you need a half circle. So I'm just going to cut a bit of this fabric off. I'm going to use a half circle. And then what you need to do is stitch down that side there, which I'm going to do now. Once you've stitched down that side, you've got to do a running stitch around the top again, like we did before. Once you've done that, turn it right way round. Okay, so we've got like a little funnel. And I'm going to use a bead and a pom-pom. No, they're too big. I'm going to use a bead and a bit of squished up cotton wool. So I'm going to squish the cotton wool up like so. So it's quite small. Put it in the bottom. I'm not putting a wire on this one, only because this is just to show you. So, and then pull it up tight. Now, if it's too big and baggy, you might have to cut your, depending on the size of your beads, you might have to cut your half circle down to a quarter circle. Really is dependent on the size of your beads. Now, because this frays so much, I'm going to actually stick a double glue in now before it frays and all falls apart. Stop it coming apart for me. Now, the other annoying thing about using beads is obviously it's not so easy to sew. So you have to start at the top if you're going to be sewing all your little seeds or your beads on. So you need to start at the top of this one, and I'll show you what happens when we get to the bottom. So with regard to leaves, you can just buy artificial leaves. That would probably be the easiest thing. Or you can cut some out. Now I'm going to use this felt. Now strawberry leaves tend to be what they call trifoliate. So they're, well, this pen's no good, but anyway, I'll try and do a rough outline so that you can see it when I cut it out. So they tend to be in 3. So I need my small scissors. Small scissors for this. So we cut out 3 leaves. I mean, you can use a template if you're not confident about drawing them out by hand. And then they have jagged edges. Now, if you're going to do that, the easiest way to do it is back to front. So what you need to do is snip small V's like this from the top down. It's much easier. Turn it over to do the other side. You'll find, again, it's a lot easier. So you get the gist. And now if you want to add some veining to your leaves, this is an easy way to do it. Take a really big needle and a cork and jam the needle into the cork, and you will have to really poke it on so that it stays there. So there we are. And we're going to heat the needle. Now, 2 things I'm going to talk about first before I do this. This is wool felt and it will withstand a fair bit of heat. If you're doing it on acrylic felt, it won't withstand a lot of heat because the acrylic will melt, because obviously it's made of plastic. So heat your needle up in the candle and then just run it down the centre of the leaf like that. You can do it on acrylic, but as I say, be careful, because if it's too hot, your needle will just go through the fabric, but you can practice. So there we are. There's another. Hope you can see this all right. I'll hold it up to the camera in a minute. By the way, it wrecks your needles. So use an old one, or one you're not too bothered about. Be careful where you put your needle down. Best to just stand it in your cork. Oh, smoke from a candle. Right, so I'm hoping you can see now where it's got some veining on the leaves. So it looks a lot more realistic. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you've had fun. I've had a lot of fun showing you things today. I'd love it if some of you sent me pictures, show me what you've been making. or if you've used any of the techniques. Oh, my hole's gone in my leaf. There we are. Make a hole. Put my leaves on. My leaves. And there we are. Thanks a lot.